Okay, Simon. So I took a look at your film. Definitely coming along, so that's really good. I think the transitions are actually looking really nice. This beginning transition is fantastic. I think it's really professional looking. Looks really nice. Um, this is all looking really good. My biggest comment so far about the color that you're doing, which I don't like, but that's fine. Just the reason why I don't like it, I'll just put it out there one more time, is that you're coloring things, and if I go to the end, you still haven't finished the rest of your film. So you're adding color, and you got 3 weeks, and I do think that if you work hard enough, you'll be able to get everything to this level, and I believe that you can do it. Um, my problem is that there's no room for notes at that point, because you're kind of finishing it. So and you're more reluctant to do that. So I would prefer that you stop with the color and you finish all this stuff first. Get it done. Anything that's still pencil test, get it to a state of being finished before you head to color. Okay, and make sure that I'm getting you some notes on that area too. Okay, so going back to the beginning, my biggest problem that I have so far with what you're doing here is the mouth. So the mouth color for me, when I look at it, it's darker, or it's lighter than the skin tone. And mouth is gonna, by nature, because it's a cavity, it's gonna be darker. So I would probably pick, this shade and go 50% darker or something like that, and fill in all your mouth shapes like that. I think it's gonna help it stand out a little bit better. It caught my eye, and I couldn't figure out what it was, and I was just like, oh, it's lighter than her skin. So make sure that you're taking a look at that, if you're going to add color. But this is a C item. This is something that you don't do until the very end, please. Okay, just make a note of it, put it off to the side for later on, and we go from there. So moving on. What else? So this is the sneeze. Going on to the sneeze. The sneeze is still. Oops. I guess I can't forward through this. I'll just scrub through it here. So the sneeze is still. It's like you're doing two small sneezes still. Let me see if you could actually use. See, this face says that she's tightening up. And when you're doing a sneeze, when you're first doing a sneeze, when you're trying to get the sneeze to come out, you're opening your mouth. Everything is very relaxed. You're waiting for it to happen. It's a breath in. Okay, it's a big breath in, trying to get the sneeze to come out, and then you go into the violent achoo kind of part. Okay, so this is still too much. What I would want you to do is I want you to kind of hit a pose that's something around like this. Okay, she could do this like she's just really trying to make it come. This is actually a really nice one. And then I want you to continue this motion all the way to the top of the pose up here. Let's see if I could find it.
What is that?
Sorry, that was my son. So this, so that's the sneeze. God, I wish I could. Oh, here I could do it here. Let's see if it'll. Okay, so if this is it, you go through it. Is it advancing? There we go. So again, that one pose, this is kind of nice. It kind of feels like she's trying to get it to come out. Um, and then she could go into this. This is great. This is a little bit too violent, and this is a little bit too, the head is too cocked here. So it's just a breath in. Just a breath in. This shouldn't happen at all. This pose should not happen. This should definitely not happen. This is way too violent for just a breath in, like a. Maybe she can start to kind of do this a little bit with her eyes, as it's about to come out, right at the end, right before she's about to go into this. So then the sneeze itself is actually really nice. The audio is off though, so you're gonna have to slip your audio. It's a little bit late. Okay, is what I'm seeing. So sorry about it, but take another pass. Maybe I'll try and get a reference to kind of show you what I'm talking about when it comes to doing it. It's not reading. It's reading it as 2 sneezes, but I'm not hearing 2 sneezes. So um, it's just a little bit too violent. Okay, so moving on. So we're going through it. So that's good. So this is good. This is good. And then, okay. Nice. This is all very nice. So this is working really well. Continue with that. I would like to see the glow going on here. This is nice. Eventually, obviously, we want to see that this image inside the black part. So if you need help with that, we can work on that this week. Now, this whole sequence, it seems like I'm seeing this image through the entire scene. I'm not sure if you meant to do that on purpose. If you did, I want to talk to you about that. I'm not sure that it's completely working. So let's go ahead and do that. This is all seems to be working for the most part. It's kind of tough to tell exactly what's going on, so I'd like to look at it without this other image superimposed on top of it. So I'm going to leave my critique at that. Basically, just take this away and have it ready to talk about. If you want to do a couple more camera moves on it, then I'd say go ahead and do that. But we'll talk about that a little bit more in class, okay? And try to make sure that this, if you're going to do this burn-in, make sure that the burn-in is in there for every single one of the shots. I think there was like a few like these that don't have it. So just make sure it's consistent throughout because it's a little jarring. And maybe, I don't know, your call on that one. I'll let you decide on that one. My opinion is that this is a little bit too burnt. I would probably take this thing down by about 50%. I want to see it there, but I don't want it to be too distracting. And right now I feel like it's taking away from the image. Unless you have a reason for it, again, we could talk about that. But I would probably take this image and just in Premiere, just go to the opacity and take it down by 50%. Okay, so moving on. The breathing, after she comes out of the thing, the breathing feels a little. Let's see here. Let me just play it at speed here and take a look at it real quick because I'm not seeing any shoulders, and breathing is everything with the chest. I see a little bit of up and down, but I'm seeing more up and down with the head than anything, and I think that it would be more that the head would kind of stay in its same place, and as the chest expands and raises, the head would kind of roll down a little bit. Even her focus would stay towards us, but her head would kind of roll forward towards us. And as her chest and her shoulders kind of come up. Hopefully that makes some sense to you. If it doesn't, we can talk about it a little bit more in class. But try to have another stab at that. Again, the reason why I'm not liking the color is because I'm asking you to change that, and you just spent all this time putting color in. So, I mean, I know you said it wasn't that difficult. It actually went pretty quick, but still, it's more time that I'd rather spend. You'd have spend doing the animation side of it. Okay, moving on. Excuse me. Okay. Okay, I see that you kind of blocked in the hands moving, which is nice. I think it's the right way to go, in my opinion. Let's take a look at it here again. But I do think that it's good blocking. I think you need to add more poses in there to kind of soften the hits. You can have it pull, but then after it pulls, it needs to ease into the ending pose before it changes direction and goes somewhere else. The pull can be fast, but then it needs to settle. It needs to cushion into its rest pose before it gets tugged in the opposite direction. So probably add another pose or two there. So this still looks nice. This is all pretty much the same if I'm not mistaken. This is all the same. So notes stay the same. And then I see that you changed this part. So this is nice. The arms are a little bit too floppy here. Oops, I need to do this way. Arms are a little bit too floppy here. So this is nice, but you have this. Okay, so this is good. Where is it? right in here. So the hands are doing a little bit too floppy. So what I would do is I would probably go to here and then just have them almost as a unit come down together. So here, if I was to kind of draw it, I'd probably have them come down kind of, I mean, obviously that's way too far. Forgive me, I'm using my right hand and a mouse. But I would kind of have them kind of coming down together and probably have it just bend a little bit as it's coming down. Okay, but not much, very little. And towards the end, straighten that up and just have it come into its rest position. So that, you know, by the time she rests, her hand is just kind of like, you know, just in some kind of a rest position.
Right with
okay.
that hand?
Yeah, I'm left-handed, buddy.
I'm left.
I know you are. Okay, let me finish, okay? Let me finish, please. So, let's see what else. So that kind of goes for that entire note. So you're just kind of doing this big flip-de-doo kind of thing. If I just kind of flip between these two, that's just way too much. So it's more distracting than anything because it just has too much floatiness to it. So looking at your reference, this is good. I like to see it. What I'm not seeing, oh, let's see. Let me play it here. I like the pause at the fire, but I think you need to pause for a minute more. The contemplation, the subtext needs to be: should I do this? Should I leave the comfort of the fire and head off to follow this thing? And then it needs to be almost like a breathe in, kind of like a okay, you know, like she's gaining her courage to go and do it, and then look in the direction and go. When I look at your performance here, you do this look up, and then you just start to go. So I guess what I'm missing from this ending part, this is all good up until that we look at the fire. Look at the fire, give it a pause, do a deep breath in while you're still looking at it, turn and look in the direction that you're going to go, and then go. And that's basically it. And then I think that's a good out. And then just kind of with the fire still crackling, do a nice fade to black, and then roll your credits. Okay. Any questions? Please send me an email, and we'll talk to you in class.